Hi, welcome to Mixed Media Creations with me, Creative Katie, Karen Burchell. Follow me on Instagram, www.instagram.com/CreativeKatie. See what I'm up to day to day. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share all my social media with your creative friends. Today we have index card a day number 15. I'm halfway. This one's entitled Life is What Happens Between Coffee and Wine. And it uses the mixed media technique that I taught in Mixed Media Technique Tag number 9, applying gesso through a stencil. Links to products can be found in the description box below for your convenience.
What you're looking at right here are the technique tags that I created in Mixed Media Technique Tag number 9. And the technique there was using gesso through a stencil. Now, there are lots of different kinds of gessos. There are ones that are fairly thin and some that are fairly thick. And mine is kind of in between. I wouldn't necessarily try this with an extra thin gesso. It would work with a thicker one or a medium one. But you know what, that being said, it's all about experimentation. So in this technique, you put on gesso, then you paint with acrylic, and then you're going to rub off, and the gesso acts as a bit of a resist. So on these two, you can see I've rubbed off, and on these ones I've done something else. I've added paint, mica spray on there till you get an effect. So, but it gives you a very slight texture, whether you rub it off or not. It's not as much as texture paste, but it definitely has some texture. So we're going to try that. So I have this stencil, and what I want this to kind of look like, maybe wallpaper. That's kind of what this reminds me of. This is a Joggles stencil. So now, because gesso is fairly thin, I am going to tape this down a little bit. This is ICAD number 15. So I'm kind of right on the mark. I'm in the halfway mark of my goal of doing 30 during the ICAD season this year. And if you want me to do some special materials or theme or something, you know, just leave a comment below and I will do it if I can. I'm just going to put some gesso on the side here. And like modeling paste, I'm not going to look for perfection. I've kind of let go of that because I was never happy with how things stenciled or how I used the modeling paste. Okay. So here's the moment of truth. I'm going to lift this up. Now your stencil, when you have gesso and or modeling paste, you need to clean it right away. So I'm just going to let this dry, and I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit that's squished under, but the rest is pretty good. So I'll be back when everything's clean. Okay, so it's all dry, and I just was looking up in my studio, and I have, this was an art journal page that I've matted. This used that technique where I had the stencil through the gesso and I rubbed it off with the baby wipe. And actually these are the kind of colors that I want to be using. I want to use that teal and the blue. So And you can use whatever kind of paint you want. I'm going to have a baby wipe at the ready because once it partially dries, when the paint loses its shine. And if you want more details, that's where you need to go to the Mixed Media Technique Tag video, because you'll see me doing this and troubleshooting some of the areas that may or may not have worked. So I'm just going to, I've got light blues and teal, bright aqua, and phthalo blue, and I just want to mix these. I'm not going to they can blend on the paper, however, and I like how I get the different colors and the tones. And more times than not, even if I'm doing a blue background, I will pick multiple shades of blue to put on. I won't, because I don't want it to look so flat. Okay, so I'm just going to wait till the shine's gone. Now I don't want to remove everything. I really just want to remove the paint on the raised areas. Now, if this doesn't work and I don't get this kind of effect, I can do this technique where you're actually applying a light dose on top and it makes what is gessoed pop. So, you know, worst case scenario, it's a little still too tacky. And again, depends how much you've watered down the paint, how thick your paint is, you know, so I'm leaving this in real time so you get an idea, but, you know, realize that things could change. Loving that color. Card is kind of bending here. And I'm ever so lightly. I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on here. Kind of just want that distressed And remember, you kind of want to take it off of the high parts, not the other part. move your baby wipe to a new, cleaner area. And it's just slow and steady. And you'll get a feel for how much you can press or how little. And of course, I just noticed my battery is dying here, so if it dies, I will recharge and come back, but I have to continue with this. It's not something I can set aside to wait till you guys, until I can get back my power. I did not use a heat tool to dry them. And if you get into a certain little area, you can put a little more pressure and kind of isolate that area. So that's most of what we have. Okay, so everything's dried and my battery's a little bit charged. So I'm going to use my archival ink, and instead of a makeup sponge, I've been testing these out to see if I should recommend them. When you use the makeup sponge, it eventually, you know, it kind of comes apart and peels apart. So I had some of this Ranger Cut and Dry foam, and you get a big sheet of it in the package and you can cut it down. And I actually do like this better. It doesn't fall apart, so it lasts a little bit longer, and it seems to work a little bit more effectively. I'm not sure. It's, you know, so if you're looking for something, you know, you can totally use the makeup sponge, but especially for using for inks, to edge it, I'm, you know, moving towards this more often because it doesn't come off. But I'm not getting this clogged. Acrylic paint comes out of this really easily if you're using acrylic paint. So that's kind of framing that. Now what I've done is I went on Pinterest or just Google it, clip art, wine and coffee, and because I got the saying, life is what happens between coffee and wine. So I wanted a wine glass and a coffee cup. And so I just cut this out of basically mixed media paper. It's just an old book that I've had. And I traced out some of my gel prints in that color. And this is why I chose the background, because I'm thinking, if I go with the kind of peach and coral, could do that. I'm not sure if I want, I'm thinking I like the dark, the solid. I've got too much print going on, but this will save. So I want to edge this as well. I just find that it pops a little bit more, and you get that line of between the background and the focal point here a little bit more. This is just a very, very quick way of shading your focal points. So I have that, and so we're using some gel prints on there. And I edged around the saying that I typed out. So I went and I collected a whole bunch of wine sayings, and then I just typed them up and printed them off on a couple different font sizes. You know, I can't create without getting completely covered in what I do. And it doesn't matter. This was a pretty fast and easy. Life is what happens between coffee and wine. And to adhere this, I'm just going to grab my gel medium. And I think we're going to put let's just get those off for now. And I like putting things off the edges. Now you could leave it and have it overhang if you wish. I tend not to have those things, and then I'm just going to edge this just to finish it off so that it all is all good. And you know, I've got to have my playtime here. I'm looking in the viewfinder just to get an idea of what it looks like, perspective. And I'm not trying to make it level the same because you're not going to. So some finishing, and I'm, you know, again going to grab my jelly roll, my Secure jelly roll. This is gold. I love these. I haven't used these for months and months, and they are still working. They're still wonderful. So I am impressed with that. That little bit of gold, it just really helped make this. So this is a very quick index card. Okay, so thanks for watching. Go and create your coffee themed, wine themed, or maybe just the color scheme and do the background using gesso through a stencil. Bye for now.